Hello and welcome to this tutorial in which I will show you how to make a code-driven view system in Unity. Um, I'm using Unity 2020.1.4 and I will be using Rider as my IDE, but you can follow along in any editor or probably also any Unity version you would like. Um, Let me just show you what I've set up before, and these are some views that I've made. It's a main menu, it's a game view in which you can win or lose the game. It's a settings view and an end game view which will show a custom message. Great. Now, I will now start by explaining what I want to achieve, and this is something like, let's just make some pseudocode. Let's call, let's create a script called startup. And what I would like to be able to do is Rider to startup for one. Right, great. Is to be able to do stuff like public void show main menu. And here we will do something like main menu dot show. Well, not show, maybe let's call it open. And main menu dot on settings to settings. And this will be a method we will create. Maybe let's call it show settings. And then we will have a method called show settings and a method called start game. And in here we can do other things, which will be like in the show settings. We want to do settings dot open and handle some things like settings dot on back equals show main menu, for example. And the start game we will look at later. For now, I will start by focusing on the main menu part. And let's see what we need to do for that. So we will have a concept of views. That's what I would like to call them. And I have a folder right here called view system, in which we will create a view. Now this will be a mono behavior and we'll have two methods. We will have a hello namespace. Great. We will have a method called open, and we will have a method called close. And the implementation, it does not really matter. We can go fancy with this and animate the open and close sequences and do more stuff in this. But for now, I will just enable or disable the game object. True. And this will be set active. False. Great. I don't like this. Let's get rid of it. Here we go. Now, since this is a base class, we might as well make it abstract for now. So we cannot really create an instance of it. Now in our startup, we will need our two references for now. We will need a reference to a main menu. So let's call this main menu view. Main menu. and initialize it to its default value. And we will also need a settings view called settings right here. Now, let's go and create these. I like to keep the logic of some views together. So if we have our, this is my folder with my screen prefabs. If we have our main menu view, I would like the main menu view script to be here. So these are in the screens folder right here. So let's just create this right here. It may not be the correct way, but this is a demo, so our folder structure might get fixed later, or you can do it your own way. Now our main menu view will inherit from the view class. Here we go. Let's fix the namespace. We will have our two main things in our view will be our actions. So we will need some events. Public event action on game, and we will have an event on settings. Now these can be called, and we will invoke them from a method called public void game start game on game. Here we go, and public void to settings. If this does not make sense, it will later. These are just some methods we will call from the UI. Now, the way we can do this, we can set this up in two ways. And an easy way right now is, hang on, I will need, here we go, our main menu view exists. Let me just create the settings view real quick, and then we will oops, nope, not this. So we need our action, our event on back, and we will create an evoker and go back. This does not need to be virtual at all. Thank you very much. So now that we fixed our compilation issues, let's go here. Great. Now we have our main menu view, and we can add our main menu view script on here. If we want, we can go to our buttons and add a function to it, which will target our main menu view, and the game button will call start game, and the settings button will call to settings. This is one way to set it up. Sometimes I like to do it more code-centric, but this will have to wait for now. I will show you maybe in a later video how I will do this. For now, this is the quickest way to do this, so I will do it like this. Here we go, our settings view, and we have our back button, and this back button will call our go back method. If I can find it. Well, this is embarrassing, of course. I may have made it. Yeah. Really important that this needs to be public or else the buttons cannot pick it up. Here we go. Settings view, go back. Great, now I have these two prefabs which I can use in our startup. So let's just assign our startup script to the startup object I added here. Normally I don't like to assign these references in a scene or an editor, but this is just a simple way to start up. We will make this more abstracted later. So if we go to our start, we have our main menu and our settings. Now just to make sure that everything is nice and clean when we start, we will close our main menu and we will close our settings. Okay, here we go. So now if we want to show our main menu, we will just open our main menu. We will subscribe to our settings and start game. Let's just maybe disable the start game for now because it won't do anything right now. And if we want to show our settings, we just open our settings and we subscribe to a button event right here. Great. So let's just add some logs here to show in the console what we are doing. Here we go. Yeah, sure. These do not need to be public. And go back to I. So for now we have our startup, which will have our main menu and our settings. And once we start up, it will disable both, and then it will show our main menu and listen for its events. Here we go. We have our main menu. If we click play game, it should not be doing anything because we do not listen for this event. But if we go to settings, we show our settings. Great. If we go back, our main menu gets shown, but we've run into an issue right here because we do not close our settings view. Okay, this is pretty easy to fix. Let's go just to our script, and each of these will have a sort of a cleanup method. So let's implement this using a local function for now, and we will clean up after ourselves, and what is the cleanup? We want to close ourselves. Now you could also do this in the show settings view, but once multiple views get used, this might be a little bit tricky. I also do not really like this method, but for now this will do. Hang on. Also, one other thing we're not doing when we're closing our view is unsubscribing from our events. So we will need to do this as well. And now what we will do is not only add our show settings, but these will also need to do some other things. So we can add a more nice way to do this, but for now let's just also add cleanup to every single one of these events. Okay, now we will need to unsubscribe from that as well. Cleanup, cleanup. Okay, this is getting cumbersome, but we will fix this. Okay, now let's add cleanup as well. This will be a nope, that's not what we want. We want a local function for this. Cleanup, and we will do settings dot close, and we will just unsubscribe right here. Okay, great. Let's see how this works. When we go to settings, we go to settings, show settings. When you go back, we're back at the main menu, settings, main menu. We've unsubscribed so we don't get duplicate calls here, which would happen if we wouldn't have unsubscribed. Now this is great. This does what we want. Okay. We're kind of dealing with this right now, but there might be other ways to fix this, which I will get to in probably in a later video. Now let's just implement the same for our start game. And our game consists of two views. One of these is our game view itself. We do not need the settings button right now, but we also have an end game view with a custom message. So this is just me. We will implement these two, and they have some more interesting functionalities than just moving between two views, because now we will start adding data. If we just go to our game view, which will be a view, and let's import our missing references. Our game view will have an enum win and game. Nope, hang on. It's an enum and game states. No, this is just a cumbersome way to write this, but let's do it like this. We have an end game state, and the thing we want to expose is an event which will have an end game state on game complete. Now, as you've seen, we also had a back button, so we will add an event, just a regular action on back. Great. Now let's create some methods for them, and this will be a public void go back, which will invoke our on back, and we will just make a public void complete game with our endgame states. And this will invoke our on game complete with our state we passed through right here. Okay, so this is the first one. Let's just assign this in the editor. So we have our game view right here, and our buttons will, so let's assign all of these at once. We have our game view, and the first one will be go back for the back button. The win button will be game view dot, oh wait, hang on, I can't do it like this. So let's make a, because we cannot show it like this, let's make this private, and we will have a public void win, and we will have a public void lose. Now, of course, this is all done by using buttons, but you can use whichever logic you want, as long as these actions get invoked the way you want them to. So we will complete game with our win states, and then we will do this with lose. Great. Now back to Unity. Here we go. And our win button will be game view dot win. And our lose button will be game view dot lose. Great. Great. So now we can assign this game view to our startup. So we will add a game view and we will just call it game for now. And let's uncomment this because we can start using it. Let's remove these lines because we no longer need them. And we will start game, which will be game.open. And also add a cleanup method here. Which will be game.close. Whoops. And we will have game on back will for now be show main menu and cleanup. Then we will have game dot on game complete, which will be complete game. Great. And also cleanup. And for that, we will just need to create a lambda for that because we do not need our end game state, but we will need to be able to call cleanup. Wow, this probably won't work like this. We'll fix this later. So this might not work because for now we will need to, oops. So this will not work because this is an anonymous delegate. So let's make this a local function. And let's also call it cleanup. Wait. Is this not allowed? Okay. Let's call it cleanup game. Okay. So now we have our complete game state. And this will, for now, let's just call show main menu. So we can test out our current flow. So what will happen, we will show a main menu. Hang on, we need to close our game at startup here. We will show our main menu. If we press game, start game, we will go to our start game methods. If we complete our game, we will complete the game, and for now this will just show our main menu. So let's assign our game view to our startup script and test this out. So we start on our main menu. When we play our game, we can go back to our main menu, and every other button will also go back to the main menu, but it will go via the complete game call. Great. Now, the final view we need to set up is our endgame view. So let's create this endgame view. Create our endgame view, which will inherit from view. And this will have just a single event. on complete. Public void. Well, let's not call it on complete, let's call it on continue. And let's add a public method called continue. Which will invoke our onContinue. Now we want to set up some data here. As you can see, we have a custom message here. So we want to be able to set this custom message. We want to show to the user, you've won, you've lost. So we want to add this in right here. So let's create a private reference to TextMesh Pro Texts. It's called label. And add a method called set data. Hello, duplicate void, by duplicate void. And for now, let's just pass our endgame state in right here. Endgame state. Let's just do it like this to make it easier. So now we will be able to set label dot text equals state. Hang on. State equals win. We will set the text to you won exclamation mark. Otherwise we will set you lost. Too bad. No punctuation for you. Okay, this is great. What do we need to hook this up with? We will need a reference to this in our startup view. So we will copy this and have our endgame view. Should be endgame. And right in here, we will do endgame dot open. And we will set endgame dot set data. And we just pass the state in right here. This could be any class actually. So let's add a method called cleanup. And we will have our endgame dot on continue. We will add show main menu, and we will also add cleanup. Let's subscribe right here. Okay. So to reiterate, when we start the game, we will complete the game. This will get called. We set our state on our end game. We open the end game, and when we press continue, we will continue. Great. Now let's set this up in the editor. We have our end game view, and now we have a new field in which we can add this label. Now let's just hook up this endgame view to our startup. Forgot something in startup. We will also need to close our endgame. Here we go. Now when we start, we're at the main menu. If you play the game, still go back to the main menu, play the game. If we win the game, it says you won. Great. Continue. Play the game again. Whoa, this does not work. Why does this not work? Okay, well, I found my bug. This was some leftover code from when I was testing out just setting this up with click listeners. So on this continue button, which we had not set up before, I had two actions to just disable the game object of the endgame view and just re-enabling the main menu view. we can delete both of them and actually make sure the correct function gets called. This is what you get when you do not set up correctly and when you leave test code hanging around. So let's just validate that this works. Sorry for the hiccup. So let's try this again. Here we go. Play game, win game. You won, continue. Is this not set up? Oh, wow. End game view button. This should button.continue and game view.continue. Yes. Play game, win game, continue. We open our main menu view, of course. In our end game view, in our flow here, our cleanup does not close our here we go. Does not close our view, of course. So this is why this system is really basic and it does not really does what we want it to do. It is pretty basic. So in another video, I will. Hang on. So yeah, this works. You lost. Continue. In another video, I will go further on this topic and implement some more safety measures and to make it more easy to work with. Right. So let's just recapitulate what we did. We created a single script in which we control our entire game flow. Yes. So the things we do not like about this are the fact that we need to reference our views themselves, but we can solve this by abstracting this away. The nice thing we have here is that we determine at every step of the way what we want to do. So we can, if we want our settings button to just show a message, show a pop-up of, well, this is not implemented yet, we can do that. If we want our settings to be fancier, we can expand our settings. We've also learned how to get data from a view by adding an action that returns some data, like our endgame state. This is not nice. We will need to fix this. And we also learned how we can pass data to a game. A view. So we've passed some data through right here. Now, we have our view right here. Right now, this is pretty humble. We can expand upon this. We have an entire folder for this view alone, so we will probably expand upon that by adding something like a view container to get views from. Then we might have something that controls our views as well, like instantiates them, because right now all of our views are in our scene. And maybe you don't want that. You probably don't want that. And also this view controller that we might make will also be able to help us with cleaning up our views. Great. Now, one last thing I want to add is these are some methods. While actually this is a pretty linear flow. We go from our main menu to our settings and back, or we go from our main menu to our game, to our complete game, and then back. So there will be another video explaining how to do this using the async await methods in C#. So look out for more. I will leave you with this. If you have any questions, comments, remarks, just let me know and I will do my best to answer them. For now, I will leave you with this. Thank you for watching and goodbye.